today. So today we are continuing our story time from last week. Do you remember what book we read last week? What was the title? The Napping House. The title of the story was The Napping House by Audrey Wood. So today we're going to be working on the sequencing, putting the story in order. But before we begin, let's remember the story.
The Napping House by Audrey Wood, illustrated by Don Wood. There is a house, a napping house, where everyone is sleeping. And in that house there is a bed, a cozy bed in a napping house where everyone is sleeping. And on that bed there is a granny, a snoring granny on a cozy bed in a napping house where everyone is sleeping. And on that granny there is a child, a dreaming child on a snoring granny on a cozy bed in a napping house where everyone is sleeping. And on that child there is a dog, a dozing dog on a dreaming child on a snoring granny on a cozy bed in a napping house where everyone is sleeping. And on that dog there is a cat, a snoozing cat on a dozing dog on a dreaming child on a snoring granny on a cozy bed in a napping house where everyone is sleeping. And on that cat there is a mouse, a slumbering mouse on a snoozing cat on a dozing dog on a dreaming child on a snoring granny on a cozy bed in a napping house where everyone is sleeping. And on that mouse there is a flea. Can it be a wakeful flea on a slumbering mouse on a snoozing cat on a dozing dog on a dreaming child on a snoring granny on a cozy bed in a napping house where everyone is sleeping? A wakeful flea who bites the mouse, who scares the cat, who claws the dog, who thumps the child, who bumps the granny, who breaks the bed. In the napping house where no one now is sleeping. The end.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed listening to the story again today. Before we begin with the sequencing, let's remember the characters and the setting. So, do you remember how to read this word right here? I hope that you do. Characters. Characters. What does characters mean? Who is in the story? Who are the people and who are the animals in the story? Do you remember the characters from the story? There were six characters. Who are they? The granny, the child, the dog, cat, mouse, and flea. These were the characters in the story, The Napping House. What about this word here? Who can read this word? Setting. 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 Setting is where and when the story takes place, but we're focusing on where. Where does the story take place? In the story The Napping House, where were they? They were in a house. They were in a house. But specifically, where were they sleeping? Were they sleeping on the toilet? No, they were not. Where were they sleeping? On the bed. So the setting is in the house on the bed. Okay, everyone, we are going to do the sequencing of the story, but you're going to need your sequencing cards right here. You can find them in your learning activities binder. Please go get these sequencing cards and then come back to the video and we will sequence the story together.
Okay, so you should put your sequencing cards on the table like Miss Erin has done here. The first thing we're going to do is read the cards. So let's start with the easy ones. This card here, can you find it? Can you help me read it? Cat. Stretchy snake. Cat. Cat. All right, this card here, can you find this one here? Let's read it together. Dog. Stretchy snake. Dog. Dog. Let's try this one here. Mouse. 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 Letter CH make the sound ch. Child. 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 Flea. Flea. Do you remember flea? Kutu dalam bahasa Indonesia. Flea. Last but not least, granny. Granny. Cat, dog, mouse, child, flea, granny. Okay, so let's sequence the story. Who was the character that went to sleep first? Was the mouse the first one to go to sleep? No. Who was it? It was the granny. So we're going to put the granny at the bottom because granny was on the bottom of the bed. She was the first one to go to sleep. Who slept on top of granny? Was it the dog? No, the dog didn't sleep on granny. It was the child. The child went to sleep on top of granny. All right, who slept on top of the child? Which one? It was the dog. The dog went to sleep on top of the child. Who was fourth? Granny was first, second, third. Who's number 4 who went to bed? Meow, meow. It was the cat. The cat slept on top of the dog. Okay, who slept on top of the cat? Was it the mouse or the flea? It was the mouse. The mouse was sleeping on top of the cat. And very last but not least, who was on top of the mouse but not sleeping? It was the flea. The flea was on top of the mouse but not asleep. He was awake and bit the mouse. When he bit the mouse goes flying over here. And then he scares the cat, who wakes up the dog, who thumps the child, who bumps the granny, and breaks the bed.
Okay, everyone, I really hope you enjoyed our story time today. For the Google Meet session, you're going to need this poster right here with your sequencing cards. And you're also going to need this worksheet right here. Get those materials and come see me in the Google lesson. Bye-bye.